back in the workshop, and for interest's sake we've got a what I assume to be a 361, a Stihl 361, but as normal the label's missing. So that's a bit of a clue to maybe what the condition of this saw is like. Although a lot of the modern ones seem to lose those. Don't know why. Maybe they're just not up to the standard of the older Stihls. The other thing is the toggle on the recoil starter's broken. So we've got to have a good look at this. There is another issue that when you pull it over there's a slight clinky knocking noise, which could be either very sloppy piston, and when it just goes over top dead centre the piston does that, or we've got a big end that's on its way out. So this looks like it's going to be a fairly in-depth investigation, and it may involve taking the cylinder off, though I don't really want to. But I have got another bottom end of one of these. It might end up being a fairly thorough rebuild. I'm sure you'd like it to be a thorough rebuild. I'm not sure. I'm having a tidy up, which seems to be a constant process nowadays, and this one, once it's running, will have to find a new home. So let's first of all let's have a listen to the noise. Click click, click click. I think it's a sloppy piston myself, but there's only one way to find out. So let's have a bit more of an investigation whilst we're here. Well, that's been washed in petrol because it's brown. Although it's got dust on it, it's the base colour's brown, not this sort of creamy white. Been washed in petrol. Typical. It's got adjustments on the carburettor, so it is a 361, not a 362. Let's take the top off. I don't think that's been apart for a while, and we're covered in cobwebs. Let's just ease the HT cap off. Well, at least that's come off without fighting me, or has it? Yes, it's come off without fighting. There we go. Now I don't think you can get these off without taking the plug out. I might be wrong. Oh yeah, you can. Good. So let's just have a look at this. Yeah, that's got fairly hot, hasn't it? A lot of muck baked onto it. And if we look down, there, down there, that looks pretty black in there. That's the back of the fan. So we've had quite a bit of abuse on this saw. I don't know quite what's going on that spark plug. I think there's some arcing been going on there. Let's just... Oh! Now there's a bit of a clue. So let's just, I'll do that off screen. Take that off, because it's on there mighty tight. So that's not been out for a long time. Although it's not a bad colour, sort of very light brown. It looks pretty good actually, but those threads are actually a bit rusty. So yeah, just about par for the course really. Right, so we've got to pay attention to that, but we know the threads are good in there, which is a good thing. Let's have a look at the clutch side. So let's have a look. Oh, these are loose, as you would expect, because the bar's been taken off. Okay, it's filthy. There's no washer and there's no circlip, so somebody's been in here before. The sprocket, which is an 8-tooth sprocket, bit bigger than normal, is reasonable. There's a bit of wear on the surface, but not too bad. Can you see that? Let's just zoom in. How on earth did that happen? See this big chunk out here? Okay. Let's zoom out again and continue. The bearing doesn't seem too bad. I bet you it's fairly worn there. I'm going to just undo that, but I'll do it off screen, because as we know, they can be a bit tricky. Plus, there's a spring missing. So when you get a spring broken or missing, as soon as you start the saw up, the chain starts running fairly fast. It's not chain creep, it's being driven, because these fly out as soon as the saw's running. You put the chain brake on and it will stall the engine. So that's the general symptoms of a broken spring. So let me undo that. So let's see where the piston is. It's all the way down. It's coming up. It's about halfway up. That'll do. Then let's put the starter cord down the plug hole. Piston's halfway up, so the cord doesn't go straight into the exhaust port. That should be enough. Right, that's solid. I'll just undo this then. So I've decided to do this on camera because I haven't shown it for a while. Okay. That really took some. I don't know whether it's gone yet. No, it hasn't. We need a deeper socket. So let's have a go with this then. It's obviously been on there for a long time. I think it's gone now. Yes. So that was quite a struggle. Right, so yeah, I don't think that had ever been off. Again, doesn't bode well. There's the pump protector, and that's absolutely full, but although that's intact, I think I'll have to zoom in, the end of that is pretty worn. Yeah, on the edge of breaking off. I think we'll need a bit of white paper behind it to show you. Let's just zoom in on that and see if we can make any sense out of it. Can you see that the end is very thin? Whereas it should be the same section all the way along. So that was on its way out. Wouldn't have taken long for that to break. But that's absolutely jam-packed. So that wants a good clean. But luckily, the bearing, the clutch bearing hadn't collapsed enough to make the clutch drum wobble and destroy the pump. So, saving graces, eh? I think now we ought to look at the other side and then maybe have the exhaust off. So as you can see, the starter cord's still in there, and I'm pulling it out and it's intact on the end, so it hasn't got jammed down the side of the piston, anything ridiculous. If you put one end in, then there's always a chance that one end will get trapped somewhere. If you put a bend in like that, the middle, then it's very definitive that there's been no damage. So that's that out of the way. So let's undo these. That's, I wouldn't say that was tight. So I think somebody else has been in here before. Yeah, that one's loose. Starter off. Right, lots of muck. At least it returns all right, and the pawls work well, and they're not too bad. They're not really rounded over, so that's reasonably good news. And then it's absolutely filthy. I have seen them worse than this before though, like that bit there. Come on, focus. But all the way round. But even the fan's got muck in it. Generally, chainsaw abuse, not sharp, running partially blunt. Let's continue. think we'll have the exhaust off. So there's these funny little things here, closers of some form, that just close the hole off. I'm not quite sure what they're for. And then we should have, right deep down in there, there we go. Now, so let's put the saw on its side. Are we still in shot? Yes, we are. Will it come undone? Oh yeah. Normally they're really tight. Feels like Loctite on this one. It's sort of staying the same level of tightness all the way out. Yeah, this one's going as well. That's good news. Squeak, squeak. There's a bracket there. Now that's a bit tight. It's fighting me. I thought I'd got most of the lock out. I had. God. Fighting all the way. Again, it feels like somebody's Loctited that in. There we go. Yeah, there's Loctite on there. You can see the white of it. That was a bit boring. And there go the little bolts. I'll just collect those up. Right, let's have a look at the front of the piston. Take the heat shield off. And there's a gasket. Right, we need a bit more wood on the underneath. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Can't see that well. Now it's at that point there where they normally rock. No, I think that piston's alright. Can't quite see, but it doesn't look that bad. Let's see. Let's get it right to the top. That is right to the top. There's a little score there, but there's nothing too outrageous. I think we may have a duff big end on this, which is a bit boring. Anyway, let's continue. So before I started ripping the cylinder off and stuff like that, I just thought, right, we've got the clutch off, I've blown things out, got the exhaust off. I'll put the starter back on and just see if that tinkly noise is still there. And it's gone. So therefore it was that the absence of that clutch spring that was making the clutch bob weights rattle. So that's good news, and it feels like it's got really quite good compression. So it's a matter of cleaning it up, sorting this out, sorting the clutch out, but smartening the whole thing up. But that compression feels pretty good. So it just goes to show that a bit of investigation and then retracing your steps before you dive in too far. Hi, I hope you enjoyed that first part of this Stihl 361 video. I'm here editing it, and when I was doing that I realised that again I'd done the same thing as I'd done with the taking the Proven turbine apart. It's turned out to be about 55 minutes long. So I'm splitting it in half. Well, not quite half, but I'm stopping it here at the end of the analysis, and the next part will be putting her back together and a cold start. One of the problems here in Lincolnshire is our broadband speed is not scintillating or spectacular. It's pretty steady, so it takes quite a long time to upload a big long video. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this part so far. Catch up with you soon. Cheers now.